Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of Video Game Club, where every 2 weeks we play and discuss a game voted on by you. I'm Tyler, and I have with me today the man, the myth, the legend, the hero that we all need in these trying times. Austin.
Hello. I liked the ASMR intro there.
It was just for you, buddy, just for you. How you doing today, Austin?
I'm doing well. I am getting ready to have a very long vacation, so I'm excited to bust into some game club games.
Oh, awesome. And of course, it wouldn't be a video game club meeting without the wonderful Mox. Hey, Mox.
Hello.
Are you doing all right?
Yes, excellent. How about you?
Good. And on episode 11, we have a very special guest who is returning for the second time, coming all the way from a small corner on the edge of the internet, Okashiboxx.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us again, Okashi.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Before we get started, I just wanted to go over what the options were for this episode. And they were Gris, Epistory, and Banjo-Tooie. And these were all nominations by Mox. And the winner was Gris. So we're going to spend some time talking about Gris today. But if you were wanting a different game, then please join us over in the Bombchu Discord, and you can cast your vote. A link to the Bombchu Discord can be found in the stream by typing !Bombchu, or it'll be in the description of the video version on the Bombchu YouTube. Now, besides Gris, what have you all been up to? Okashi.
Well, I just did a 12-hour stream yesterday, and so I tried out a couple new games. I played a Colonel Sanders dating sim. That was fun.
What? Who would make that?
KFC?
What are you dating? Persons or
Them
chickens?
Colonel Sanders.
Oh, I
Ooh.
understand.
Yeah. So I'm going to
Was he
speed run it.
Was he a romantic?
Yeah, he's really mysterious, and he's all about bringing good food to the community.
Love it. I'm also all about that. I'm sure everyone here is all about bringing good food to the community. Mox, what have you been playing? And wait, let me guess. Final Fantasy
14. Yeah, that's the only thing I play.
How's the fishing going?
Oh my gosh, the trades in this game are so good. I don't know why anybody ever plays any combat classes, because all you can do is just fish.
Forever. I'm gonna have to try it out. I know the trial is very generous. Like,
It's robust.
You can play like a ton of the game without dropping $1.
Yeah. Of course, you can buy a mount that is an enormous, fat, spherical cat for like $30.
Did you?
Yes, and I bought them for all my friends too.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Austin, what have you been playing? Have you been rolling around on big cats?
I've been playing some of Apex Legends since that's dropped on Steam.
Oh yeah.
And I've also been trying to work my way through Final Fantasy IV.
Oh.
You need another 10 on that.
I'll work through 10 next, but I'll play them separately, and I'll call it even.
Is there any reason why Final Fantasy IV specifically?
I haven't beaten most of the Final Fantasy games, and but I want to. And 4 was the first proper Final Fantasy game that I played, because I started off with Mystic Quest.
Yep.
And at some point, on that cartridge, it was just big text, Mystic Quest, and in tiny little letters at the top said Final Fantasy. And when I finally realized that, I was like, oh, there's a series of games on here. There's Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo. It's the sequel, and it was a very different game. But I've started it like 5 times and gotten really far and eventually just quit. And so I'm trying to actually finish it out this time. I'm on my way to the moon.
Nice. I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's interesting. They do the same thing like they did with Odyssey, where like you have to play like minimum 5 hours before you get the title screen. But it's been interesting. You're a Viking, and you go to England, and like the first thing that they say when you get there is like, let's pillage all these churches, let's burn them all down and steal all these and kill all the Christians.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Can you play a lady Viking?
Yeah, you can. They actually, it's really interesting. They have 3 options. I thought there would just be 2, but there's 3. There's like, play as female, male, and then there's like a middle one, which is, it's like situational. So majority of the time it's canonical, I believe. So like the majority of the time you'll be the female version of Eivor, and then during like some sequences you'll be the male version, it said. So I went with that.
What determines the change?
I don't know. I haven't got to a section yet where I played as the male character. But it's supposed to be like, from what I read, it's like some special like moments in the game. I imagine there's some like like Norse mythology moments that happen probably. But we'll see. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Final Fantasy IV. No, we're here to talk about Gris, a platform adventure game developed by Nomada Studio based in Barcelona, Spain. And it was published by Devolver Digital, which is based in Austin, Texas. There's a lot we could go into about Devolver Digital. I think we can just, because they're like a huge company with tons of
They
games.
do everything. Their name is on everything.
Yeah, but for those that don't know, like Devolver Digital, one of the first games they published is a very popular game called Serious Sam. And of course, they've had very recent success with Carry On and Fall Guys. So they're everywhere helping indies, which is just great. The game was released December 13th, 2018, and it initially came out on PC, Mac, and Switch, and it came to iOS, PlayStation 4, and Android later. So as always, we kind of talk about what was going on in that year. So 2018, 2 years ago. Can someone name a game that was released 2 years ago that you played?
Shoot, I'm blanking hard on that year.
I know.
Everything I'm thinking of is like from the year before, the year after.
I did the same thing, and then I like looked at the games and I was like, oh yeah. So it's
Did Horizon Zero Dawn come out that year?
No, I don't think so.
Did Mario Odyssey come out that year?
I don't know.
Oh, that might have been late 2017.
So here I have some games that I wrote
Let's
down.
tell us.
So God of War, the PlayStation 1, Florence, Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out 2 years ago. I cannot believe that. Like, I don't know why. It seems like it came out like last year. Return of the Obra Dinn, Monster Hunter World. And this was a big year for indies. Celeste, Inside, Dead Cells, and Smash Ultimate came out that year as well.
You passed right over Return of the Obra Dinn, which is like one of the best games ever.
I didn't pass over it. I was just
you
naming
did
it.
include it in the indie section.
Yeah,
You did.
it is. It is, and that's true. I said it a bit earlier, but yeah, Return of the Obra Dinn. The game was made using the Unity engine, and that's a little bit of Gris in a nutshell. So let's go over a history of Gris and the company. So this is an interesting pick because we've done indie games before, of course, but typically there was kind of a lot to say because they were more well-known indies or like had a big following, and there was a lot of stuff. This one, not so much. Like this company doesn't even have like a Wikipedia page. So I did a little digging and watched some YouTube videos and found some videos of the developer talking. So Gris is the first and only game that they have made so far. The studio called Nomada. And Nomada Studio was founded by 2 friends who worked in the industry before. I'm going to say their names wrong, so I'm just going to say their first names. Actually, I'll say their full names, but then I'm not going to say it again. Adrian Cuevas and Roger Mendoza. And it was founded after they met an artist called Conrad Rosette, probably. And the goal of Gris was to bring this artist's work, this famous artist in Barcelona, to an interactive medium. The way that they were formed is really interesting. Adrian was going to overseas to Canada from Spain for a bit, and I'll explain why that happened. But he was having a going away party, and Roger was there because they were friends since the university. And while they were there, at the bar, one of their mutual friends was having a birthday party there. And their mutual friend knew the artist of the game. And so they were having beers and like, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if we made this game? Like the artist was explaining like, he doesn't feel like art was used like in this way in games. And he was like explaining like, oh, it'd be so great if I could like implement my art in like a more interactive medium. And they went home and Conrad went to Canada Adrian went to Canada. And that was kind of it. They were just, he thought like, okay, what's going to happen from 3 guys drunk at a bar talking about some game, right? Well, it turns out like whenever he returned from Canada, Roger and the artist already, Conrad, they already like had a prototype like going for the game. And he was so shocked by that. And so after that, they had a prototype and then they like founded a company and went from there. So Adrian, he has 10 years of experience in games, and he was part of projects such as Far Cry 3, Rainbow Six Siege, and Hitman. He actually worked for Ubisoft and then went and worked on I cannot remember for the life of me the studio that makes Hitman.
IO?
Yeah, and then worked for IO, and then he went to Ubisoft Barcelona after that. So he went like Ubisoft, that company, then back to Ubisoft. And then Roger, who's one of the guys that Adrian met at university, he worked at Ubisoft as well, working on things like Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 4, and Rainbow Six Siege as well. And then a little history on Conrad. He was an artist in Barcelona, and he was mainly working in advertising. So doing things for like the big companies like Coca-Cola, Adidas, and other large companies like that. And he also had, of course, like displays of his art and stuff and sold in galleries and things like that. So yeah, they all met at this party. And then what happened is that, I don't know if you guys remember when Rainbow Six Siege came out, but it was kind of not received well. And they've done like just a ton of work on that game to make it what it is today. And so Adrian was like told like, hey, we need you to come to Canada to like sit with our team to like optimize this game and make it like what we want it to be, basically. And so that's why he went to Canada to work on Rainbow Six Siege. And then when he came back, they had that small prototype. The important thing for this game for them was that the music and color like went hand in hand with each other. So like as you like added more color, the music would like also like build. And that was something that was extremely important. They had a lot of ideas when they were developing this game in the beginning. Like one of the things was they wanted it to be like a Metroidvania, and you can kind of see some of that with the abilities that you pick up.
What? Just the abilities?
Yeah. Well, so like in terms of backtracking to they basically made all the stuff that would be useful to go back for optional.
Yep.
But I could see how that would have been places that you needed to go instead.
Yeah. So that was like what they wanted to do initially. They kind of like steered away from that, and they then were like, okay, well, we want something that's like familiar, and so that's why like that main like little hub that you always return to, it like changes, but it's also like the same. And so like that was like just something that they wanted to do. That's kind of like really as far as like the history of that game and studio. That's kind of it. The game was received quite well, scoring 8s and 9s for the most part. However, some major outlets gave it like 6s, like IGN, for example. I have a quote here from GameSpot that I thought was really like that describes the game really well. They said that Gris understands oh my god, I can't say this word right now. Intrinsically, how magical video games can be, and continually pushes your imagination until you're almost bursting with joy. The way in which it reinvents itself as you gain powers and dive ever deeper into this world is truly special. And just as it knows exactly when to pull back the camera or introduce a new song, it's keenly aware of when it's time to say goodbye. Like a comet.
It's nice.
Wow.
It's very nice.
It's not done. Like a comet streaking across the sky, Gris is full of wonder and beauty and leaves you with a warm glow in your heart. Sorry, I lost my spot in that quote. But I don't know. I thought that was like a really good description of this game from GameSpot. On March 2019, they announced that Gris sold 300,000 copies. And in April of this year, it topped 1 million in sales. And that's a success. This game was nominated for several awards, and it won 8 of those. One of them being, which is this award category that I really love from the Game Awards called Games for Impact. It won that award the year it came out. Yeah, that's essentially like, without, like a little history of Gris, there's not really much out there because it's, such a small game. The studio isn't very well known. They haven't announced like a new project, at least from what I saw. So, who knows what their next game will be. I hope that they like use this artist again. I assume they will because he's like kind of part of the studio at this point, but who knows if they'll try to do something different. But yeah. Did you guys find anything or anything you guys want to go into a little more detail about or anything about that?
Well, you might have gone over it already, but did you say how long the game was in development for?
I did not. And
okay.
I did not like find that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We could probably do the math though, based on Rainbow Six Siege and kind of like when that was released roughly. And
what was that, 2015, 2016?
Let's see.
Has it been longer? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious myself. Let's see here. 2015? They probably went... So I imagine like in 2016 he went to Canada. I don't think he said in this talk, but after the game was out for a bit. Yeah, it probably took like... they were a small studio. I know they've definitely hired some people, but from what I saw, they were relatively small.
Okay.
You spoke about how the game kind of centered around the artist, but what about the music? Who did the music and how important was that person?
I don't know, actually.
The music was by Berlinist, but I didn't get to see how involved they were in the development process.
Yeah, Berlinist, yeah.
Interesting.
I like watched that video and I don't think it like ever, I was kind of doing something in the background at the same time, but I don't think it ever, they ever went into detail about like how involved they were. But it is definitely a critical part of the game for sure. So that's that. It's time for Mox's favorite part to talk about the story. So I'm going to turn on the spoilers tag. Okay. So let's talk about this game. Mox, as always, please interrupt me.
There's like nothing to interrupt you about, which is my main complaint about this game.
So the game follows a girl named Gris who wakes up in the palm of like a crumbling statue of a woman who to me it looked like they were the same person. I don't know if it was like supposed to be necessarily, but it comes off that they're like the same. And she tries to like sing and she can't. And then like the statue like crumbles down and she like falls and she goes to this like black and white colorless like area. After landing, you like start to walk and you kind of see like some like really strange like structures and like these like mysterious like points of light that kind of look like stars. And you start to realize that like you can collect these like points of light, and they help you like gain new abilities, such as like turning into like a block of stone or creating like a pathway. It's like another thing. You reach like this central tower, like this central point, and you can travel to like 4 different locations, and you collect these lights to restore color back to the world. You can't freely like go to like you there's an order that you have to go in, right? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. It seems like I was trying to like explore as much as I could, but at the same time, like I wasn't going that deep, but I assumed like I can only go this way. based on
I
what powers.
cheesed a spot to get to a level early, and they just didn't even leave they didn't. You couldn't actually load into the level.
Okay.
So yeah.
So these areas include like a desert filled with windmills, a forest, an underwater like cavern sort of thing, and then like just like a place where there's just like buildings and light. Like I don't know how else to describe that. Along the way, you like encounter like various like living beings, and you also like eventually encounter like this shadowy bird thing that also becomes like an eel, and it basically like is there to threaten you in some way. It doesn't. Can you like game over in this game? I don't know if you can.
I don't think so.
I didn't, and that's surprising.
Did you?
I got in a. So I didn't remember what I don't know what happens if the eel like manages to strike you but I got an achievement this time that I didn't get the previous time I had played for making it through the eel section without getting attacked. So I'm guessing it probably just sends you stumbling or something like that.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, you like kind of stumble, but then you like keep swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then eventually you get to your final power, which is the ability to sing. And when you can sing, you can bring like life to plants and like some also like weird robot animal thingies. I don't know if they would call them animals. They're like spider robots. Eventually you like collect enough stuff, and then you kind of like form this path that goes like up to the sky, or heaven or something. You like go up, and then like you get, I guess like you encounter the creature again, and the creature like forms into like a monster of you, and it like swallows you. Then and this is like where I got like Death Stranding vibes from this game, because you wake up in an ocean of toxic like black sludge, and you have to like swim, and like when you die in Death Stranding, it's very similar to that. But anyway, so you climb out of the ocean, you try to get like pulled back in, but like you use your voice and you're able to basically like survive. The statue ends up coming alive, and it like sings as well. The creature like goes away, and then you basically like the statue, like the girl embraces the statue, and then there's like she cries, like the statue cries, and then you kind of climb this like final path up. Yeah, and apparently if you collect all the like these little collectibles, I think they're called mementos, that's what they call them. If you collect them all, you get like a special cutscene. Did anybody get that cutscene?
No, because it doesn't make it easy to backtrack.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So the cutscene is that your childhood is revealed in like this secret room that you can find, and it's like nighttime, and there's a child version of Gris, and you're in these meadows with like an older woman, and apparently the statue is like your mom.
That makes sense.
It's not explicit. It is. You can interpret that.
Yeah.
A lot of this game is seems to be about interpretation.
Yeah. And at the like basically like you're with your mom and you guys hug each other, and that's like the cutscene, or that person who may be your mom, maybe your aunt, maybe an older sister, maybe a clone of yourself, who knows.
Someone who takes care of you.
Yeah.
Or is close to you.
Yeah. That's it. And that's essentially like the story, what happens.
I think there's other pieces that come out that name the levels based on the 5 stages of grief. If you collect more pieces.
I read about that. Yeah. It seems to be trying to tell the story of like loss.
Of some form, not explicit.
No, it's not explicit, yeah. And telling that through, the story of you going along this path and the color and the music. And I guess like as time goes on, the grief gets easier, and I don't know. It's trying to tell like
slowly put the pieces back together.
Yeah, telling some sort of story like that. Yeah, that's kind of the story of the game in a nutshell. I mean, it's a very short game, pretty straightforward for the most part. I will say this: I'm going to put this in the spoilers mode, but my favorite little creature was the little green dude that you meet in the forest, and you have to get the apples for him.
Yeah,
They're so cute.
Oh my gosh, there's a plush that you can buy of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on Fangamer, and I was like, oh, I need this.
I usually I play games for the storyline, and I don't mind storylines that are left to interpretation, but you need some detail, and I just didn't like how there's like nothing to this game. I appreciate like the emotions that it evoked, which were very meaningful. Mm-hmm. Perhaps it would mean more to me if I had like lost someone recently, but at the same time, I feel like it was so emotional that it might perhaps be like difficult to play if you had lost someone recently. But I wish there was, I wish there's more to it. I would have liked to have like learned more about what the developers were trying to tell me about it. And I couldn't even find any, like in any interviews, they specifically didn't clarify it. They kind of wanted to leave it to interpretation. Yeah.
And that kind of makes sense given that it was basically an interactive way to experience this artist's work, right? So yeah, a big part of art is interpretation and leaving things open for people to interpret. So
maybe that's why I don't like art. I want it to tell me explicitly what is going on and what the story is they want to convey.
Think like this person.
You can't even assume that the character's name is Gris.
That's actually true. Yeah. There's a lot of things that are not. Yeah. I hear you, Mox. I definitely understand like where you're coming from there.
And every time before these meetings, I always like comb the wiki that inevitably exists for every single one of these games. There are 9 pages on the wiki, and every single one of those pages is a stub.
Were you sad?
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing to read. There's just pictures like, oh, this is Gris. Plot needs more information. Abilities turns into a square. That's it.
Can dive. Yeah.
Can walk. Can jump.
Do we feel like the abilities are spoilers?
In a way, they're the only thing that is spoiled, I
know. That's why I'm like, should we maybe talk about them a bit? And I'm curious, like, how you guys like them. So there's, let's see. I can't remember how many abilities. So there's
there
singing,
5? One for each
maybe
area?
There's singing. There's being able to be a heavy block. There's a double jump with like a little glide. Mm-hmm. I'm missing one. There's
the crystallization and swimming.
There's the swimming one. Yeah.
Swimming, yeah.
What one?
Like is it an ability, I guess? The crystallization.
It's just
thing?
a couple of rooms that will freeze and you have to just it's specific to those rooms.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's an ability. What is that? So there's 4 then? Block.
Yeah, I think so.
Swimming, double jump, singing. Yeah. I don't like games that don't give you double jump right off the bat as the first ability.
What did you think about Axiom Verge then?
It was, it was okay, but it had a lot of other things going on that made it. This is like walking and jumping. Those are like your main things that you do. With some cool sliding, which was cool.
Isn't that how you just live your life every day?
Man, I wish I jumped as that much. My legs would probably be crazy strong. But like, I don't know, like I just seen some stuff that I was like, oh, if I had double jump, that would be great. And like, it just seemed like it took a while, which we can go into it more with our like little personal reviews, but yeah.
They definitely seem to want to give you that incentive to backtrack. Because there were a lot of times early on where I was like, I really wish I had a double jump right now.
Yeah.
So it gives you a reason to backtrack, but also I think it drives home early on your just like how distraught and broken you are over whatever trauma you've experienced. Mm-hmm. Just where at the very start you walk super slow, and the first thing you kind of get is the ability to to just walk at a normal speed.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I remember the other power. It's that one where you see those flowers and you can like do a crazy jump, like double jump thing.
Oh,
yeah,
is that not double jump? Yeah, the birds.
Yeah, I think that's just the double jump.
Okay, sorry. I was talking about the one that you like you don't need the flowers to do. You can like jump twice and glide, kind of.
Oh, yeah, okay. I guess I didn't think of that as a power because it's part of like it's a part of the level, but yeah, at some point, yeah, that you don't have access to those for a bit, and then at some point you do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, is there anything in spoilery territory that you guys want to cover while we're here before we go on to our reviews?
Dude, that last level's so pretty.
It is.
The final one with all the stars and the night sky.
It had some stuff that I didn't like, but for the most part, it was really pretty. Yeah. That level, that's the same one where like the gravity shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like, they definitely saved, at least for me personally, like the best level for the end. I wish there would have been more of things like that. That would be my feedback. Like more puzzly thingies. Like do something else like that.
Yeah,
so you're
right.
If you go back to the previous areas, a lot of the mementos will actually have some pretty good puzzles associated with them. But since they're not like on the main path, or they can be pretty out of the way, it's like you have to backtrack, or it would be nice if they were a little bit more, if you could get them all on the first playthrough or something like that. I don't know.
And you're not really incentivized to backtrack, really.
Yeah.
Like Axiom Verge, you definitely were, because you could get like, oh, now I can get this weapon that I didn't have before, or
a health upgrade,
or whatever.
Yeah, there was a hard one where you had to sing to all the birds in that one level with the fan tails. You remember that? I was like, I'm not going to find all of these birds. There's no way. There's no incentive to do so.
Yeah. All right. Should we move on? Speak now. Nope. Okay.
Go ahead.
I think we're good.
All right. So now we can get into our own little personal takes on Gris. I'll start. I played on PC and I really loved the music, and the game was really pretty to look at. It did start for me very slow, and starting off slow is okay, but it just seemed like it took a while to really get going. And the first hour for me was like a chore. After that, it became pretty fun, but the first hour was kind of rough for me personally. The game definitely wants you to get like emotionally involved in what's going on, or feels like that. It's really trying to like pull out your emotions with like the music and the art, and a lot of like crying and falling down stuff. And I just couldn't get involved in that way with the game. Like it was just like a platformer game for me. That being said, I didn't like some of the platforming. Specifically, like I don't like whenever you don't know if a platform will be there until you jump. And there was some moments like that were quite frustrating. Like, will this platform form when I jump? I don't know. It's been forming, but like, what if it doesn't this time? And I just fall.
Wait, surely you can see how that's probably related to the theme of the game.
Yeah, I can see that. But I just didn't appreciate it. I did like how the game respected your time with backtracking, especially towards like the end level or area. We can kind of take like a little speed lane to go through everything. You don't have to like go, do exactly what you did to go back. That was really nice. Yeah, it was really beautiful, and it had great music, but it wasn't for me fun to play. It had some moments, but it wasn't like something I would play for fun. It was more of like a movie to watch, or like something just to like have an experience, but I wouldn't say it was fun. So yeah, that's kind of me. I would give it like a 5 or 6. I thought it was okay. That's, yeah. What about you, Mox?
I like games with stories. This game didn't have one. I love platformers, so I actually liked the platforming part, and I liked the 6 puzzles there were in this entire game. And the art's beautiful, of course. That's like the whole point of the game, and the music's good too. Yeah. And I liked the general like feel of the game. But otherwise, I didn't like it. I want a storyline, and I want there to be a clear progression, or like this is that thing, and this is that thing, and nothing was labeled, and you don't even know what her name is. You assume it's Gris. So I give it the same score, but ironically for the opposite reason. I like the platforming, but I didn't like anything else really.
What about the art style?
I mean, the art's good, but that's like saying like, I don't know, a video game's good because it's a video game. Like this whole game was built around this art. So yeah, the art's going to be good. They spent the most time on it probably.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Okashi?
So I really enjoyed this game, mostly for the music. I was streaming on Twitch whenever I was playing it, so I kind of found myself getting a little teary-eyed at some of the scenes in the game, so I had to kind of like, oh my gosh, okay, you're streaming right now. Don't let the world see you fall apart, goodness. And really, I took kind of to heart the theme of the game and kind of the interpreted story for it. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty terrible at platformers, but this one, with some of the moves that they give you, was really helpful. So once I got to the very end, unfortunately, I didn't feel incredibly accomplished that I finished it. Just relatively satisfied. So I'd probably say I'd give it like a 6 or a 7, but mostly just because of the visuals and the music.
Yeah. What was your favorite area, Okashi?
I would probably say, that's tough.
Without getting too spoilery.
Yeah, of course. Probably the very end, once just everything started coming together. So like you could see like kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel of the game, and just everything that you had worked hard towards. You can all utilize it at one time, just to kind of come to the resolution of the story. Yeah.
Austin, what about you?
So I played this when it first launched. Somebody gave it to me for Christmas that year, and
Merry Christmas.
I was really I was really excited to play it because I had been seeing some of the reviews, and like the art and everything looked really amazing, and so I kind of knew what I was getting into when I started playing. Mm-hmm. And I remember I really enjoyed playing through it at the time. I don't think this is a great game to replay. It's because I had to do it for a bundle review at some point. I didn't play through the whole thing, but played through the beginning, which is obviously the slowest part. And so when we were doing it for this, and I had to go record that first setting, I was just like, man, I don't want to play this game again. Mm-hmm. By the end of it, I was vibing again. Like once you get to kind of the underground area, I was having a good time with it again. But definitely didn't match up with my initial playthrough. So I'd say like if this is a game that looks like it's something that you could get into, just kind of know that it doesn't really stand up for replay value. So this time I would say I'd give it a solid 7. The music and art, really good. I had a better time with the platforming this time around just because I knew kind of what to expect, as well as I have a tendency to try to explore everything to look for like big secrets. Mm-hmm. And the first time I played through, I wasn't picking up on a lot of the visual cues that they give you to kind of be like, hey, maybe you should go look over here. Yeah. Or maybe this is kind of a pointless spot. Maybe you shouldn't go over here. And so, I definitely had an easier time with the platforming this time around.
I'm going to interrupt you because I agree. They want to reward you for exploring, but then if you like go too far in the right direction, you can't go back. It is hard to tell what's the right direction, and that so many times I'm like, okay, I gotta go back for that star, but I think that I get to it from this way, and then I'm like, okay, well now I can't go back.
I also ran into, similar to that, I ran into some issues where like, oh, I can go through this like there's a swimming part, and I was like, oh, I can go through this like pillar, and this pillar looks the exact same, but I can't go through it. It's like a wall. Right. But these ones aren't walls. I was like, what? Like, how am I supposed to know? Like, I'm just supposed to like try every pillar here and just like see which ones work, which ones don't work.
I think that's what you had to do. That's what I did.
Yeah, and it was frustrating. I was like, I would much rather like have some sort of visual cue, and maybe it was there, but I just like couldn't see it. Like it was like maybe colored a little darker or lighter, but like I played it on my computer monitor, and like I didn't notice. Like, but anyway, yeah, there was some stuff like that. Anything else you'd like to add, Austin?
I love the color in this game. Every time I would unlock a new color, it would just like, it would take my breath away. Just, oh man, the way it would fill in. And the art, of course, was very, very beautiful. Yeah. So I would love to see another game with this style of artwork. Yeah,
same. I would also think, like, I think it would be really interesting to, like, the colors are associated with sections of the game, and I think it would be really interesting to maybe associate the color red with like a different part of the game, or the green with like a different part, like depending on where you go. That way it's like can be quite different, just based on the color palette that happens. I don't know.
Like changing how the area is interacted with.
Yeah. So did everyone play it on PC? Did anyone play it on Switch or PlayStation?
I played it on my Switch. Oh, I played it on my Switch. Sorry.
Oh, you did? Did it? No issues? Everything ran?
It was beautiful. I liked being able to play it in my bed.
Nice. Okashi, you played it on PC?
Yeah, and I have long nails, so it was really hard to maneuver the arrow keys of trying to get around and stuff. So I'm sure it must have been a lot easier on the Switch.
Oh, it was beautiful. It played absolutely gorgeously. No lag either.
Pro tip, Okashi, the Pro controller, if you have it, it syncs up with Steam like really well.
Yeah, I need that really bad.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's great. So that was Gris. It was okay. It was beautiful, but it was okay. I guess I would say I think the general consensus is like play it once if you think it's pretty, and that's it.
Or watch someone play it once.
Get into like an emotional story or like interpretive stuff.
Do you want to be sad?
It's a good game as an art.
Yeah. Basically.
No, it is. I think it would be really cool to have this at like an art exhibit. This game. Yeah. On like some giant screen that looks beautiful, and just like have a controller there for people to pick up and do something, then put it down and come back.
Just a question for you guys. In my Discord, and when this game was in a bundle, the phrase that kept coming up from everybody was walking simulator.
Yep.
And personally, I didn't see this as a walking simulator, but I'm curious how you guys would feel about that label for it.
I thoroughly disagree with that, because the whole point of walking simulators is to tell you a story while having quote unquote gameplay, and then it's just walking. Like, it's not a walking simulator. There's no story. What would it be if it's a walking simulator? It's like a jumping simulator. I don't know. There needs to be a story for it to be a walking simulator. I'm sorry. I feel very strongly about that.
Maybe like the first half an hour is the walking sim, because you do a lot of walking, but over time you get abilities and you have to start solving puzzles and doing platforming. And I
think it's very unfair to the game to call it that. Like, I know they were like, they even said in this talk, like, they pitched this game as like Mario for people that like want like a more artistic experience. I wouldn't quite describe it like that, but I wouldn't describe it as a walking simulator. Like, this isn't Firewatch or Gone Home or Vanishing of Ethan Carter. It's definitely got some platform puzzly stuff. I wouldn't classify it as an adventure. I would call it like platform puzzler personally. But
I only say it sarcastically in the sense of that you call Death Stranding a walking simulator.
Okay. Well,
out of respect, of course. Like, so much more than that.
Death Stranding's great. I recommend everyone play it. So that was Gris. Our next game will be, I'm just checking the vote last minute. Never know. Wow, but quite a lot, actually. It's going to be Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, you may notice that this one's a bit different than the others. It's a bit long than the other games that we've done. So we're going to break this up into 2 parts. And Austin, you said the first part will be from the beginning to the end of Ordo Eris?
That's correct. So I looked around. I have not played through Fallen Order, but I've tried looking around to get a spoiler-free look at where kind of the halfway point is, and my best guess is that it's around the end of Ordo Eris.
How many hours is it to that point?
It should be about 10. It's about a 20-hour game, so it should be about 10 hours to get there. But our longest game we've done on here before, because we've got full-time jobs and try to keep it a manageable length, has been 10 hours. So we'll do the first half and then reconvene in 2 weeks to discuss that first half, and then do the second half and reconvene another 2 weeks later to discuss the game in full.
Oh, so you get 2 game clubs for your 1 game?
This is a 2-parter, and then if at some point in the future you want to do a multi-part one, we can definitely do that.
We got it. It's fair.
And
I wanted to experiment with it a little bit.
And Okashi, with you being on 2 times, I feel like, if you want to participate with Jedi Fallen Order, you may be the next one to nominate if you're interested.
Oh my gosh. I'll play it. And I'm going to say this guiltily, and I apologize, but I like Star Wars. I'm just not, that's not always been my thing. I can respect it. I just don't know. I don't know.
I would recommend playing this. I would recommend at least trying it if you can, just because I've heard that you do not have to like Star Wars to enjoy this game.
Yeah.
Okay. But I need Twitch content anyway, so
your mileage may vary. Twitch content. Hell yeah.
Also, it's on Game Pass, as well as EA Origin, whatever their current subscription is called. So if you don't have to pay full price for it, you can play it through that on the cheap.
I think it's called Play.
They keep changing the name, so I'm not keeping up with it. But we'll go with that. EA Play.
Yeah. So this will be really interesting to do. I'm really looking forward to this. So it'll be cool to do like a 2-parter. It's the longest game we've done, Dead Space.
I think so.
Okay. I might nominate Dead Space 2.
Ooh.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, everyone watching the stream, and everyone who watches this video on YouTube. Thank you so much. The next stream will be on December 6th at 2 o'clock Eastern, sometime, some other place. Okashi, thank you so much for joining again.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Please plug yourself.
Okay.
Where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Okashiboxx, OKASHIBOXX. We just got done with a 12-hour stream yesterday. I'm alive and caffeinated today, so expect more fun things like that. Always, all the time.
Do you have like a game coming up, like besides Star Wars? Like, is there anything that you've been like eyeing for your stream?
Ooh, well, and I'm gonna bring this up again. Everybody who's watching yesterday wants me to finish that Colonel Sanders dating simulator.
Oh yeah.
So we gotta finish that, but there's a new Story of Seasons that came out, so I might poke around on that a little bit. I'm a big Harvest Moon person, so
hell yeah,
something relaxing for the holidays, you know.
They announced the Pioneer one that's coming out like next year, I think. And then there's like the Doraemon version.
Ooh.
Man, I love those games too.
When does Rune Factory 4 remake come out for Switch, or is it already out?
It's already out.
That's what you should play.
Rune Factory 4 Special, highly recommend.
Yeah, so good.
I'd give it a shot. Why not?
If you like Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing, that's one to play for sure. So thank you all so much for joining. Austin, thank you. Hell yeah. Mux, thank you.
Thank you.
And Okashi, thank you again.
Thank you.
I'm Tyler, and this was Video Game Club episode 11, and we're out.